Hi, welcome back to the Healthcare GTM Show. I'm Subhash and this is episode 4. Today I'm joined by Andy Milligan, founder of MMG Studio, where he helps healthcare and B2B companies build websites and SEO strategies that drive real business results. And thank you for joining us, Andy. Let's start with healthcare SEO. You have worked with healthcare organizations across different markets. What's one thing healthcare marketers still get completely wrong when it comes to SEO?
This is a very broad and open topic, but the biggest thing is just starting from first principles. A lot of SEOs, a lot of people, a lot of marketers, especially the clients that we work with, they view it as traditional SEO, but just in a healthcare context. A lot of times when people view SEO, they optimize for volume rather than intent. SEO is all about knowing how people are going to find you and kind of reverse engineering that journey. We've seen with the rise of AI and as search changes, people are finding our websites in significantly lower volumes. People that arrive at our websites are so much further down the search funnel. So we have a great opportunity to be able to present a very detailed, very tailored message to them, to all the customers that land on our websites. With the tools we have now, marketers are super empowered to try and get as specific as possible. And that starts from the foundations of knowing how you're different. So the people that are actually in the market that are searching for you online, looking for the very specific thing you do have, they are led to your website. They're more likely to convert. What a lot of people try and do is try and rank broadly, try and rank for as many keywords, opportunities as possible. But just the age old principle, if you try and rank for everything, you'll end up ranking for almost nothing at all. So biggest thing you want to focus on is going niche and narrow. Start by knowing your differentiators and identifying where your opportunities lie in relation to your competitors. So that way you really have a chance at the few phrases, keywords that matter rather than going broad and missing out on everything entirely.
I really like that point about focusing on intent over volume, Andy. It reinforces that attracting the right audience matters more than attracting the biggest audience. And that naturally brings me to credibility, which leads me to our second question. Healthcare buyers aren't all the same. A physician evaluating a clinical tool and a CFO evaluating an enterprise platform are looking for very different signals. How do you build a website that speaks to both audiences without creating friction?
Anyone comes to our website, we don't want to be sold to. That's just human nature, right? So much about web design and marketing as a whole, marketers can relate to this, is nobody likes to be sold to. They like to be guided along in the journey. They like to feel like they discovered you, they made the purchase on your own. And our job is to give you all the information that you need in order to feel like your decision was justified, overcome your objections, present case studies, testimonials for people who are like you, who have achieved the outcomes that you want. That's really the feeling we want you to walk away with, or what we want you to feel when you're scrolling through our website. When it comes to building a site for two different audiences, user navigation and setting a site up right and from the foundations is very important. So when we have a homepage, we want to think, okay, if we have two different competing audiences, how do we make it abundantly clear that we build a search journey, we build the correct pages, we make it friction free to where this person and what they're searching for, it's almost natural. It feels like a conversation with someone else rather than, okay, I'm trying to find this dense directory and match all these exact keywords. And, it feels like a struggle. We wanted to make it feel frictionless. A couple more tactical ways that we can do this is by a thing we use called callouts. So you guys might know them as eyebrow copy, but sometimes on the headlines of websites, you have a little bit of text that goes right above the headline. That's a great opportunity to not only put keywords in that headline and tag it as a semantic headline, H1, H2, H3, H4, etc., but also do a direct call out to the persona that that message is for. It's abundantly clear to us after inspecting hundreds of pages of websites, looking at data, that people really don't read websites all that much. And that might sound counterintuitive, but people are skimmers. So if we can call out people directly and say, hey, this message is meant for you. This is what we want you to read. It's going to be really productive because, again, people are spending less time as a whole on websites. And those people that are on our sites are very deep in our sales funnel. We want to make sure that we're resonating with them when they get there. So to round out the question, biggest thing is starting from the ground up, building on a strong foundation, knowing who our audiences are beforehand, and building the site in a way that makes it easy for them to get to those key conversion pages.
That's an interesting perspective, Andy, especially your point about making the user journey feel natural instead of forcing visitors to search for information. Let's make this a little more practical, and which leads to our third question. If you are evaluating a provider directory for the first time, what are the biggest green flags that tells you it's built well, and what immediately tells you there is room for improvement?
The first thing that I'm looking for in any type of directory when all of these accounts, all these little boxes and profiles look relatively similar when we're constrained and telling our story, telling information about us, I'm looking for trust signals. When it comes to a directory, especially in an industry as intimate as healthcare, trust is the name of the game. That is the one single thing that you should be optimizing for. There's a couple of different ways that you can earn it. Some of the most common and tangible that we always tell our marketing clients about is adding links back to third party sources. So, not only is that good for SEO to have backlinks from credible sources to your website, humans evaluate in the same way. So, if you have a testimonial from a patient, even if it is anonymized, you can link back to the platform where they left that testimonial. Trustpilot, G2, even Google My Business reviews. So great, not just for gaining human trust, but also for the robots, the AI scanning our website. They want to see reviews from the populations that we are serving in order to bring more of those people to our pages. The algorithms now are surprisingly capable at recognizing personas and guiding people on that journey. We just have to play into that and make sure that we're providing relevant social proof via those testimonials, those in-depth case studies, giving our website all the information it needs to earn that trust. Again, one of the biggest advantages of AI is the specificity that we can bring to our websites now. We can expand our sitemap, we can go very specific and resonate more deeply with each persona that we're trying to attract, that our business is trying to attract. And also on a directory, we want to make sure that the next step is easy and obvious. So back to the ground level website best practices, having clear CTAs, making it clear to the user what their next step is going to be. Is it going to be checking their email inbox for a confirmation? Is it going to be calling one of our providers and getting on the line with them directly? Is going to be scheduling a call at the next link. It's the options are endless, and we want to make it easy and obvious for people to continue along that journey. Again, we work so hard to get traffic to our website, and a lot of times there's going to be great fit traffic. So we want to make sure we're not losing them right at the finish line by not guiding them across it. I like to tell the story a lot because it really illustrates the importance of trust and good UI, UX in healthcare. We recently made a video about a company called MedV, which was a GLP-1 distributor. They're basically an online marketing firm for routing traffic to providers to buy these GLP-1s that BPC, that had hair loss drugs, finasteride, things like that. And they built all of their site, their testimonials, all AI generated. And they were under a class action lawsuit from the FDA because they earned visitor trust using fake testimonials, fake images. And while it may sound trite, it may sound like we can earn, like, trust isn't important. It's something that can be generated and we can just manipulate our visitors. It's a great example that in the end, that's not going to work out for the best. And it's also an example of the contrary of how well it actually did work when people thought it was real. So imagine if you have actual real humans, you have video testimonials, case studies, names and headshots of people that you are serving and adding value to. Just think how effective that could be for your healthcare brand.
Fourth question, so which is how do you approach content for healthcare landing pages, and how does that strategy change when you're working with clinics versus larger healthcare system?
When it comes to content, I think one of the big mistakes a lot of marketers make is letting the schedule drive the work. So what I mean by that is a lot of times, a lot of marketers will meet in the boardroom and put together a content calendar, say, okay, these are the platforms we want to appear on. This is the cadence we want to hit. Boom, let's go. We got a plan put together. When in actuality, you need to be keeping your customer and the people you're trying to help with your content as the North Star throughout the entire process, regardless of your schedule, regardless of whether or not it's convenient for you. So when it comes to gathering content for healthcare landing pages in particular, again, going back to the point of specificity, what are the questions that these users are asking when they're navigating our product, when they're in that decision phase? Are they local? Are they asking how they can find our healthcare clinic, our office? What are their biggest hesitancies? How can we make it abundantly clear that we are who we say we are on our website? Another great use case for AI is recording customer conversations and using that to craft the messaging on these landing pages. So again, things like direct call outs, eyebrow copy, relevant case studies and testimonials, focusing on specific solutions rather than features of your product that your team is proud of. Focus on what's actually going to move the needle and push that buyer closer towards having all the information they need in order to make an educated decision, whether it's with you or not. That's the big piece at the end right there. We don't want to be winning patients who aren't a good fit for our service, whether they're not budget qualified, they're not location qualified. Stay true to who your best patients are and use their testimonials or case studies to remarket and get more of those best patients.
Great reminder that effective content starts with understanding the customer and not following a publishing schedule. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you one final question. You have also built a successful podcast, Marketing by Design. What do you think healthcare brands still get wrong about using podcast as a go to market channel?
This question because we are in the podcast space. We've been doing a podcast called Marketing by Design. This week is going to be our 170th episode. So we've been uploading weekly for, almost 3 years. And the biggest thing that I see done wrong with podcasts is that people treat it like a sales opportunity immediately. And they don't focus on the conversations and the longer term picture, the longer term play that podcasting actually is. Podcasting is a long term game. B2B sales, especially if you are a B2B healthcare organization, it's going to be about the relationships. It's going to be about the opportunity to add value to that person that you're interviewing or talking to over time. And it's going to be about growing a body of work. Humans traditionally, or this is a financial example, are not great at understanding compounding or compound interest, compound investing. And a podcast is a manifesting version of that. Your first couple episodes, it feels like you're an imposter. It feels like you're not doing the right thing. And over time, it feels a lot more natural. You feel like you're in the right place. Your words start to articulate better. You start to resonate more while you find your ideal audience. And an even bigger thing that a lot of brands do wrong is that they don't start from first principles. So they start the show because they want to start a show. They don't start a show with asking themselves, like, hey, what are our patients, what are our providers actually asking us? How can we be as helpful as we can to them? That is the main goal with content marketing, is to build a clear line between value and your brand online. And that way people become more apt to trust you. They seek you out in times of confusion when new trends come up in marketing or in healthcare. Healthcare legislation changes all the time. And if you have a podcast where you're presenting latest trends, insights from people who are in touch with the industry, you're going to present yourself as a center for authority, and there is no scenario where that's bad for you. So podcasting is a combination of starting from the right place with the right intentions, acknowledging that it's going to be a long game, and using the format to add value to your ideal prospects, the listeners of the show.
Thank you so much, Andy, for sharing your insights with us today. I think one thing that comes through so far is trust from your answers. Whether it's SEO, website structure, or provider directories, everything comes back to building confidence with the user.
Thank the Ampliz team for having me on.
If you'd like to connect with Andy or learn more about MMG Studio, we will include all the links in the description below. Thank you for watching episode 4 of the Healthcare GTM Show. We will see you in the next episode.